Have you ever been playing a game of Apex, then you just randomly learned something new that should have been very obvious? Like, I'm talking to the level of face-palming obvious. Well, there's tons of those moments in Apex. It is a pretty big game with tons of small little tips and tricks that people should be aware of. So, hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8 Second Gaming, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down some of these tips and tricks I wish I had known earlier in Apex. For those of you who are new to the channel, I have just about 7,000 hours in Apex. I've competed and placed high in multiple tournaments, including ALGS, and I have tons of experience in higher tier ranked lobbies. But even with all of that, I still find something new about this game all the time, and that's what makes it fun for me. So this video will be teaching you a lot of new things, but if you want to learn even more about Apex, you need to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there, we have our top level coaches creating highly in-depth guides to make you the best Apex player you can be. We have legend guides, gun guides, VOD reviews, and so much more. And these types of guides you will not find anywhere else with how in-depth they are. So if you want to get started, click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, or I'll replace all of your I can't believe it's not butter with real butter. But now let's dive into things and start off with tip number 1. That is, different guns can be heard from different distances. Everyone hates being third-partied, it's a real pain, but did you know that the type of gun you were using may be adding to that fact? Well, sniper rifles can be heard from 450 meters away, assault rifles and SMGs can be heard from 325 meters, pistols and energy weapons from 275 meters, and shotguns from 200 meters. So if you're sick and tired of shooting one bullet and then bringing the entire lobby down on you, maybe try picking up a different gun. It probably will change your results drastically. For tip number 2, let's talk about Mr. Bamboozler himself. A lot of new people get confused when Mirage pops his ultimate and they aren't sure who the real one is, so here are 4 easy ways to tell. First, the real Mirage kicks up dirt when he runs or slides. The clones don't have any effect on the ground, so if they aren't kicking up particles, they aren't real. Second, the real Mirage's arms glow blue when he first pops the ultimate, so if you can see him when he does it, watch for the blue arms. Third, when Mirage first pops his ultimate, his clones flicker, but the real Mirage flickers just a tad bit longer than the other one, so that's the guy that you need to shoot. And fourth, if they happen to have an heirloom, it will be visible on the real Mirage's back when he has it put away. The clones won't have anything there, giving them away and telling you what one the real one is. So now that you know what to look for, you can stop getting tricked by those Mirages and actually figure out who the real one to shoot is. For tip number 3, a lot of people like hip firing, but not a lot of people like the bloom that's involved with it. Well, what if I told you can have very precise aim while hip firing? All you need to do is aim down sights. You then start shooting and then stop ADSing. Your bullet spread will remain very tight and be just as if you were still aiming. Do be aware though, as this only works on certain guns. These are the R301, the Volt, the Car, the Hemlock, the Rampage, the Flatline, the Alternator, and the RE45. Any other gun this will not work on, so don't come at me if you miss a whole clip of an R99 trying this. For tip number 4, Gibraltar bubbles are very annoying to deal with. I'm sure most of you know that, but there's actually a fantastic counter that not a lot of people do. Gibby's bubble lasts 12 seconds. If you throw an arc star on the top of the bubble between 9 and 12 seconds, it will fall into the dome after it disappears and hit anyone who is inside. This makes it so you don't have to actually push a bubble and can easily kill anyone with just a solid arc star placement. And bonus tip, the beam inside starts flickering at about 7 seconds, so this helps you keep track of the amount of time that's remaining. For tip number 5, did you know that there are actually pay to win skins in the game? There are a bunch of these skins in the game that change the iron sights on guns, making them a lot cleaner and less intrusive on your screen. These skins are as follows: Death Ray for the Wingman, Revolutionary for the R99, but if you didn't play that season, you can use Avalanche or Kill Switch. The Flatline has Heatsink, but it was also a Battle Pass skin, so if you didn't play that season, you're out of luck. Dark Realm for the Prowler, Continuum for the Spitfire, the Peacekeeper has the Lone Star skin, the Alternator has the LED Res, and the Car has Heat Trail. And those have way better iron sights to help you beam in game without needing a sight, so I do recommend putting those on as soon as possible. On the flip side, for tip number 6, there are pay to lose skins. These skins have a ton of stuff blocking your sight when you scope in, and definitely should not be used unless you really want to. These are Golden Rampage for the R301, Guardians of Atlantis for the EVA 8, Tamed Beast for the Triple Take, Lethal Injection for the Volt, Death Reel for the R99, Haymaker for the Alternator, Frostbite for the Peacekeeper, and Hazard Pay for the Flatline. If you are using one of these, you should swap off immediately to something slightly better. It will help you a lot in the long run. For tip number 7, this is to abuse wraiths who leave the game. In fights, sometimes you can't afford to pop a battery or finish it down to get an armor swap, but if you start doing a finisher on someone, they may end up leaving the game. Finishers replenish armor when completed, but it also counts as finishing the finisher if they leave before that actually is over. And them leaving is better too, because then you don't have to go through the whole animation and you're back in the fight a lot faster, helping your team out. For tip number 8, sometimes you never know what your teammates need or not in terms of attachments. There are a ton of situations where people don't use their microphones or communicate, but there is actually a way to see if someone on your team needs an item without even asking them. When running by something, look at the top right corner of the information tab that pops up. You will see a little guy with his hand up. That little guy means that your teammate is in need of an item and you can ping it for them. This really helps to streamline looting and makes it so you don't have to ping every single item you see because you didn't know what they were looking for, because now you know what they need. Now for tip number 9, you can close wraith portals in the game right now. Sometimes there are kamikaze wraiths that portal right at you to start a fight. Well, there are actually ways to close that portal so she's stuck with you and can't escape, or her teammates can't get there to help her out. There are actually 3 ways, so let's start with number 1, and that is to drop a lifeline care package right onto the portal. This one is very slow and probably the worst out of 3, but in a pinch it can work. Number 2 is to place a Revenant Death Totem on top of it. This one is very fast, but not a lot of people play Revenant, and it is a slower charging ultimate compared to the third one. So number 3 is your best bet, and that is placing a Loba Black Market on top. This is probably the go-to method as it is a fast charging ultimate, and Loba is getting a ton of playtime recently in the current meta, so she's probably on your team. But doing this, you can close the portal so now that your team can easily gang up on the wraith and kill her before she can escape. And for tip number 10, sometimes people get upset that an attachment they need is in the crafter. If it's in the crafter for that day, it doesn't spawn on ground loot, so it can be hard to get as crafters can be somewhat difficult to come by in certain games. They just aren't in your rotation path. But there are actually ways around that. The loot ticks on King's Canyon, the Marvins on Olympus, and the cargo bots on World's Edge all don't respect the crafting rotation. So if you get a purple or gold item from them, it has a chance to be the attachment that you need without even crafting. So you should always be taking a chance with these, as they are worth checking just in case. And like I said, there are small things in Apex that people are learning every day. I know I always find new stuff out from time to time, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, please remember to smash that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming, and I will see you in the next one.